In this video, we're going to talk more about the psychology of positive relationships and specifically focus on the ways in which relationships benefit our physical health, and also look at some of the ways in which positive emotion and happiness is also tied to our physical health. As we discussed earlier in the course, happiness is associated with physical health, and one reason for this might be because of broaden and build theory. If you remember, we talked about this in a previous video. Positive emotions broaden our attention, which allows us to see and experience more of the world, which then helps us to build enduring resources to help us thrive and flourish. But well being is also improved through positive relationships. Romantic partners and friends are more likely to keep people healthy through positive lifestyle choices, such as exercising together and avoiding unhealthy behaviors such as smoking. Many of the people who abuse drugs do so because of the underlying distress that is connected to loneliness or poor relationship quality, such as feeling disconnected from one's social network. As your textbook authors write, unhappy people are more likely to die from suicide, homicide, and accidents. They're less likely to stay involved with rehab, and because of smoking and alcoholism, unhappy people are also more likely to die from lung cancer and liver disease. Social relationships provide a buffer against all of those ailments and illnesses. Sometimes relationship support is enhanced by what is called a secure base, in which people rely on their significant others and family members as a source of strength and prosperity. Attachment theory suggests that this aspect of relationships is learned early on in childhood, and people go through life with the psychological template that they learned early. This is in part why we seek qualities in our friends and partners that remind us of the relationships we had with our parents as children. In an evolutionary sense, we exist today as social creatures, so perhaps we did evolve to coexist. Relationships may help promote survival and longevity. In close communities, those who were exiled from such communities would almost certainly face death. There really is no life for humans outside of our relationships, and this is why loneliness is so painful. This is why it feels so debilitating and so crappy when we're rejected, or when a breakup happens, or when your friend doesn't text you back, or when you don't get invited to a party. This is evolution's way of saying in your brain, this is really, really bad, and you need to repair this and make new relationships with other people ASAP. But relationships aren't everything. Personality matters too. Those high in neuroticism are more likely to experience and notice physical pain in their body. And in laboratory experiments, negative emotions that are induced by researchers can cause reduced tolerance for physical pain. Happiness also gives us a boost when we need to recover from illness and injury. As your textbook authors note, there's some evidence that there can be too much of a good thing. So maybe what we need is happiness in moderation. Happiness predicts positive outcomes in life, especially in terms of health and well being, but only up to a point. At the highest end, when people score 10 out of 10 on happiness, they're actually more likely to die when diagnosed with a serious illness compared to people who are slightly less happy. It's possible that this may have happened because people did not take their threats, their physical health seriously, or maybe because they didn't learn the benefits of negative emotions like fear or anger. As your textbook authors wrote, another finding was that highly aroused positive emotions, such as elevation, might raise blood pressure and heart rate. The research findings on health indicate there might be an optimal level of happiness, wherein too little subjective well being fails to convey the potential health benefits of happiness, and too much might also be detrimental. With this cautionary note in mind, it makes sense to ask, might there be other domains of life where extreme happiness is not desirable and where emotional balance is needed? The authors then point to the phenomenon of magic eights, in which researchers find that those who score 8 out of 10 in terms of well being do better in terms of positive life outcomes like success and achievement, compared to those who score 10 out of 10. Why might this be? The researchers speculate that part of what might be going on is that the individuals who score around 8 out of 10 on happiness are able to tap into some degree of negative emotions that help motivate them alongside positive emotions. In a longitudinal study of life outcomes after college, those who scored between 7 and 9 on a 10-point happiness scale had higher incomes and more advanced educations than those who scored 10 out of 10, and also those who were unhappy. Some psychologists believe that there is an optimal balance between positive and negative thinking, with some negative thinking being necessary for us to function well, and a life well lived could be a function of balance between these two extremes.